Thanks for staying with us. Let's turn our attention to the United States, where 80 persons have now been confirmed to have been killed by wildfires on the Hawaiian island of Maui. That's according to government officials. In the meantime, firefighters continue working to extinguish flare-ups and contain fires in Lahaina, Pilo, and upcountry Maui. The Maui Police Department also says the fire in West Maui that prompted evacuations in Kanapali area is now 80% controlled. More in this report.
The latest death toll was announced by the Maui County government. There are fears the numbers will rise further in what is officially the U.S. state's worst natural disaster. Firefighters have been trying to contain the fires in several areas, including the historic town of Lahaina, which has been utterly devastated. Hawaii's Attorney General has announced a comprehensive review into how the authorities responded to the wildfires. It comes as questions mount over whether officials warned residents fast enough. State officials reopened Lahaina to people with proof of residency on Friday for the first time since the flames swept rapidly through early this week, raising much of the coastal town, which has a rich history and attracts some 2 million tourists a year. Evacuated Lahaina residents later said they believed their homes had been struck by looting, though this was not confirmed by the police. Still, 4 hours after the closure, families sat in a mile-long line. Earlier, Governor Josh Green had warned residents would be greeted by destruction like they've never seen in their lives. And for many Lahaina evacuees, that waiting devastation is still too much to see.
We need formula, diapers, ice, water, and just food.
What's going through your mind right now?
I'm a little worried because I have a 4-month-old and a 2-year-old. I have dogs and just the essentials for everybody, and I just hope everybody out there is doing well.
Crosses here, the people are so kind. You know, we have food, we have water, and a place to shower, and people who love us.
Authorities have warned it will take many years to repair the damage caused by wildfires on the island of Maui. More than 1,000 buildings have been destroyed in Lahaina alone. The extensive damage is an added stress for Maui locals, many of whom rely on the service jobs supplied by the tourism industry. There are 6 shelters in operation on Maui for those displaced, and officials said they were drafting a plan to house them in hotels and tourist rental properties.
We keep hearing explosions. We were hearing screams out of a horror movie. Yeah. You know, we didn't know. We were hearing people throwing up. We didn't know where they were. The smoke was just keep getting all black. And then, you know, I called the cops again. They couldn't come. The 3rd time I called them, they said, you have to go in the water. And I said, you want us to jump in the hurricane? It's black, you know. The ocean was pulling us at the same time. We were trying to have debris falling on us. We're trying to get wet and not burn.
How long were you in the waterfall before you were rescued?
Like 3 hours.
Now, elsewhere, 1 person has died and 5 others are said to be in serious conditions after a boat carrying migrants sank in the English Channel. A joint rescue operation by the British and French Coast Guards has rescued 50 people. A number of people were seen being brought off a lifeboat on stretchers in Dover. The extent of the other injuries is unclear. The RNI said the lifeboat crew was launched just before 4 o'clock local time. France's Maritime Prefecture of the Channel and the North Sea said 6 people were taken by helicopter to a hospital in Calais, with 1 person later pronounced dead. Anne Thorell said our group saved 54 people, including 1 woman. The UK Home Office has been asked for more details about the incident. As of 10 August, 15,826 people have crossed the Channel in a small boat this year. Now to the UK health sector, where senior health bosses say the National Health Service cannot cope with any more disruption as junior doctors began their 5th strike. NHS providers say the industrial action has cost around £1 billion, and by the time this 4-day walkout ends, 1 million procedures and appointments will have been cancelled. Details in this report.
Junior doctors in England have launched a 5th round of industrial action, thousands going on strike just days after starting their first NHS jobs. The latest strikes from British Medical Association junior doctors began at 7 a.m. on Friday and will end at 7 a.m. next Tuesday. It comes less than 24 hours after figures reveal the waiting list of people awaiting treatment had climbed to a record high of 7.6 million. With consultants also striking again for 2 days in a fortnight's time, the drive to tackle the care backlog will be further derailed.
It kills you. Absolutely does your brain in. He came out and he shook his head. I'm sorry, mate, he said, we can't do it. Of course. It's so hard to describe. It's shattering, it just wears you out and plays tricks with your mind. The worry.
Foundation Year 1 doctors started their first roles after medical school on the 2nd of August and will now strike for 4 days amid the bitter dispute with the government over pay. Dr. Robert Gritton is one of those striking first-year doctors who has just begun his first placement.
Australia next year. That way I'll be working in A&E. I'll probably be earning double of what I earn at the moment here for less hours in a week.
Patients have to be psychologically ready for that theatre. Also, they get work sorted, their family sorted, so we do our utmost to make sure that patient does not get cancelled on day of surgery.
Soon after the doctors began their strike, the Chief Secretary to the Treasury, John Glenn, ruled out pay negotiations with them. Steve Barclay, the Health Secretary, said patients were bearing the brunt of the impact of continuous strikes, and the fresh round will cause more appointments and procedures to be postponed.
It's final. We've accepted in full the recommendations of the independent pay review body process, but it's also right that we balance that with our wider commitment to bring inflation down, because that matters to NHS staff just as it does to the community as a whole.
The Department of Health and Social Care says the pay rise given to junior doctors, a 6% increase along with an additional consolidated £1,250, which the government describes as an average increase of around 8.8%, was fair and reasonable, and above what most of the public and private sectors are receiving. NHS England has urged the public to continue to use 999 for life-threatening emergencies and 111 online for anything non-urgent. GPs and pharmacies are also open and largely unaffected by strikes. The NHS also told patients to attend appointments as usual unless they have been rescheduled. More than 830,000 appointments have already been postponed as a result of industrial action since December 2022, which is estimated to have cost the NHS about £1 billion.
To the Middle East, where Lebanon's caretaker government Friday shut down the country's public broadcaster, Lebanon, as staff protest over unpaid salaries and benefits. The station, which was founded in 1977, is one of the oldest in the region and has about 200 employees who have not been paid in almost 22 months. The move comes days after Minister of Information Zayed Makari said talks with union representatives were progressing. Mr. Makari said the station had not been closed and would resume broadcasting at an unspecified date. The station Friday stopped broadcasting its regular TV programs. Lebanon's media landscape is dominated by the private sector, and channels are typically owned by or aligned with political parties, putting Lebanon in a unique position. In the wake of the country's devastating 2019 economic collapse, the Lebanese pound has lost about 98% of its value against the US dollar. Salaries in local currency have not matched rampant inflation in Lebanon, a country heavily reliant on imports. Let's turn our attention to Sudan, where despite the impact of war and its consequences, Sudanese students are managing to pursue their education in the country they sought refuge in. Their educational aspirations, previously shattered by the conflict in Sudan, endured, while there are similarities in the educational setting between Sudan and South Sudan. The latter employs English as an official and instructional language, with the exception of the Al-Alam School. This institution teaches its students in Arabic, aiming to alleviate their apprehension towards the English language. The Al-Alam School hosts a total of over 300 Sudanese students spanning various educational stages and levels. According to the school's founder, its objective is to offer educational opportunities to Sudanese families who have been displaced in significant numbers to southern Sudan.